These are my test 6 corrections. The first question I got wrong is number 2, and I just forgot to square 2x, so I just put 2x squared instead of 4x squared, so the answer would be 4x squared. Number 4 was the next question I got wrong, and I just didn't know how to do an equation with y is equal to ax squared plus c, because the question was find the quadratic function y equals ax squared plus c with a graph that includes 0, 3, and -4, -45. And so I didn't understand how to do it, but since there's a 0, that means that would be your vertex. And so if you put that in for your vertex, which would be like, you put that in for your vertex, so you put 3 there, and then you would put in this x and y for x and y here, so you'd have -45 is equal to a times -4 squared plus 3, and then you simplify that down and you get this. Since it's 16a is equal to -48, you want to divide by 16 to get a is equal to -3. Then you put -3 in for a, so you have y is equal to -3x squared plus 3. So that would be your answer. The next question I got wrong is number 6, and I accidentally just added at the very end wrong. You just had to find the minimum or maximum of this equation, so you find x. And so you would do, it's negative b over 2a, so I just did that to get 1.5, and then I just plugged that in for x, and I got 6.125, and I just added wrong before, so that would be, it's a max of 6.125. The next question I got wrong is number 7, and first you had to find the vertex form of the equation, and then you had to find the standard form, and in the standard form I accidentally just simplified wrong when I used the vertex form to find it. So you would use the vertex form that you found, and you would simplify that out, which is x minus 2 squared, then you multiply that whole thing by 2, and then you subtract 2. So you simplify it and you get to this, multiply it all by 2, subtract 2 from 8 then. So you would have y is equal to 2x squared minus ax plus 6. That's your answer. The next question I got wrong is number 8, and I accidentally just read the question wrong, which was Randex Manufacturing estimates that its weekly profit P is in hundreds of dollars. It can be approximated by the formula P is equal to -2x squared plus 4x plus 2, where x is the number of units produced per week in thousands. Show your work. So you had to figure out how many units they should make to find the maximum profit, and then what the maximum profit weekly was, and you just had to find what x was equal to, because that's the number of units produced, and then you just put x in to the equation to get 1 and 4. So your vertex is 1, 4, but it's in thousands and hundredths, and I accidentally did all thousands, so it would be 1,400 instead of 1,000 and 4,000. The next question is number 10, and I just got minus 0.2 because my graph wasn't close enough to scale, so I'll show you on the test how I made changes. So first I had the scale is 1 to 10, but it's 7.87, so it would be more like over here. So I changed the scale to 0 to 20, and I extended it a little bit. And then here's 10 and here's 5, so 7.87 is about in between there. So that's how I fixed number 10. The next question I got wrong is number 11, and it says solve 3x squared minus x minus 4 is equal to 0 by factoring, and I just thought it said factor, so I just put it in factor on the test, but it was actually, I didn't see the solve, so I just added 4 divided by 3 4/3 and subtracted 1 to get x is equal to 4/3 and x is equal to -1. Then number 12, I accidentally, when you had to find x, when you find x to rewrite this into vertex form, it's -10, but it's negative b over 2a, so it would have to be 10 over 5, or 10 over 2, which is equal to 5, and then you just put 5 in for x into this equation, and you simplify that out, and you get negative 22 instead. So then your final answer is y is equal to x minus 5 instead of the plus 5, squared minus 22. Number 13, I didn't find what, I didn't separate x from the 2 to have the coefficient be 1, and so I just kind of solved and put 2 in front of the equation, and so this number and this number were wrong. But when I redid that and I divided by 2, and then I completed the square and then added to each side, and then factored, and then added this to both sides again, I got y is equal to 2 times x minus 1/2 squared plus 2.5. Then number 15, I just didn't know how to do it. But it's like putting it on a graph with real and imaginary numbers, with the x and y axis. And so side to side is like is real numbers, and the imaginary axis is up and down. So I put that on a graph, and you have, or you don't even have to put it in a graph, but you have negative 5 is the length of one side, and then negative 4i is the length of another side, and you have to find the hypotenuse using the Pythagorean theorem to find the answer, because you have to find the difference between the two. So after you solve that out, you get c, using a squared plus b squared is equal to c squared, you get c is equal to the square root of 29. Number 18, I just forgot to simplify. I stopped right here as at x is equal to 3/4 plus or minus the square root of 1.5625. The square root of that is 1.25. So then I did plus or minus 3/4 plus or minus 1.25 to get x is equal to 2 and x is equal to negative 0.5. Number 19, you have to determine the type and number of solutions of the equation negative 4x squared minus 3x plus 7. And so you use like the inside of the quadratic formula underneath the square root, so it's b squared minus 4ac, so then you have 9 minus 4 times negative 4 times 7. So if you do negative 4 times negative 4 is equal to 16 times 7 is equal to 112. So 9 plus 112, which I accidentally did minus 112 before, is equal to 121, and that is a positive number, and it's greater than 0. Oh, I accidentally did it. Yeah, greater than 0. So that means that there are 2 real solutions, right? So that's your answer. The last question I got wrong is number 20, and I wasn't sure how to do this problem, but what you want to do is take the area of the square and subtract the area that's being cut out as shown in this diagram, because you have to find the equation for the problem. So you want to take x squared, because that's the length of a side, minus 3 squared, which is the area of the part being cut out. So x squared minus 3 squared, that's your equation. So, or x squared minus 9. So that would be how you found the new area of the square. And those are my test 6 corrections.